everybody. This is Liza Esqueda, your trademark and business BFF. And I'm here today with Kevin. He's our feature on this week's Saturday Spotlight. So Glenetta isn't able to make it today, so it's just me and Kevin. And he has a wonderful business called Relationship Avenues that he's going to talk to us a little bit about. I met Kevin recently, a few months ago, here locally in Michigan at a networking event, and his commitment to his business and his clients really stuck out to me, and I've been in contact with him, and he has great services we were just talking about for any type of business. So I will let Kevin introduce himself.
All right. Thank you for having me, Liza. I appreciate it. Well, everybody, I'm Kevin with Kevin Boseman with Relationship Avenues, and we are a training and development company. So my ideal behind Relationship Avenues was it's a mall where you go shopping for your relationship needs, whether it's professional and or personal. So we created this mall where you can go and get certain training and development to help you in both those areas, so that you can be able to excel, address some issues, work better with your team, connect more with clients, and basically the outcome and our vision was to be able to help everybody develop X-ray vision so that they can see exactly what they're doing and exactly what the interventions are.
I like how you phrase that, because I think when it comes to a lot of small businesses, you don't know what you need. You don't know what you don't know. So you help them get that vision of what it is, where they have gaps, what they need to do to improve, and then you help them make a plan for that. Is that right?
Exactly. So it kind of starts out basically with just an overall assessment of your own personal genetic wiring, because it really affects how you perform and how you connect with other people that are around you, in the business world. And so once we get that genetic wiring together, then we do a gap analysis to show where the gaps are, and then we put actually a action plan step by step in place to help you to be able to know what to do next when you face this problem, and what to do next in terms of growth and development for your own company professionally. And what I found is people take the professional development and use it personally, and people take the personal development and use it professionally. So I really think we're on to something here when it comes down to developing the X-ray vision for people.
So that's wonderful. So you do the personal and the business side of it to kind of help the overall business owner and business person get a real grasp on how to run the business, correct?
Exactly. And so there are some things that we're all really good and great at. And a lot of times of what I found in business with business owners, and even when leaders, leadership consultants and coaches, when they're working with their team, they're basically operating from their strengths, which creates weaknesses when it comes down to connecting with other people in terms of how they operate and what they actually need. And so, from a business standpoint, we always start with the personal connection side, because that's what we do in business. We're always connecting with people, unless somebody has a business where they're just where they have a hard product that they're offering. But even then, they may market and communicate that in a way that reflects them, not necessarily in the way that buyers buy. So we have a sales piece that goes with it. We have a leadership piece that goes with it, and we have a high performance piece that goes with it as well. And what I found is I haven't had any of my clients or people that I've coached with be disappointed or upset. In fact, they love it, and they usually upgrade to next level. And that tells me that I'm pretty much in the area and kind of walking in my purpose in terms of helping other people be successful.
I like how you say that about, and I was trying to write it down, about people's strengths, right? So you have
Yes.
particular strengths or you have particular personality traits, and this is how you do business. So and you hear a lot out there about be yourself, be authentic, the right client's going to come to you, but at the same time, it you do have other aspects you need to develop. Like you said, you're going, there's going to be weaknesses if you're just focusing on your strengths. And I know I was told a long time ago, work your strengths but hire for your weaknesses, so because you're going to have weaknesses, nobody can do it all. So in addition to people being told, oh, just be authentic, be yourself, your personality to bring people in, there's that weakness side. You can't do it all, and you do need to develop that, or you need to have people on your team to develop that. So I think that's probably what attracts a lot of people, like you said, to you and to the next levels, when they realize, hey, there is this gap that I need to fill. As a
Right.
business person, you want to be, as a business person, you need to fill all the gaps, not just your strengths. So I think that's great.
Yes, and it's really tough to be your authentic self and operate in your strengths because a lot of us have a lot of different values, strengths, and gifts. And some people may take their values as their strengths, and that's where you'll start going sideways. Some people take their talents and not necessarily it's lined up with their values or their strengths. And so those particular areas is what we first align to make sure that everything goes up. And I really love the point you made. Hire for your weaknesses. That's just like me. I do great at training and developing and speaking in other people's value languages, but I'm gonna tell you, sit down and try to put together a PowerPoint. That's not gonna happen. I don't do a good job. The layout is always crappy, and so I actually hire for that particular task, which keeps me focused in my area that I'm good at, and I recognize other people in areas that they are good at, and it's worth the money to hire out because you don't have the headache of being able to do that. And I think a lot of business owners fall short of that because they try to do everything themselves, and hiring out is even an art because you need to know what specific things you need to hire out for. You don't hire out for everything, but specifically there are some things you can hire out for, and there are some things that you can do that's a little extra. You just don't want to stay there too long because you will be exhausted at the end of the day.
Right. No, those are good points, because if your business is going to grow when you're in your zone of genius, not when you're trying to spend 6 hours doing a PowerPoint because it's not your zone of genius and you don't know how to do that. I feel that. I've been there.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
always have this in the back of my mind, I have this voice saying, oh, you can do it, and yeah, maybe I can do it, but it's going to take me 8 hours or 6 hours or frustration, and I could have just hired somebody to do it, and I can focus on the important things in running my business and in my zone of genius. So I love that about your program. I love that you developed that for people, and that you point it out to them, because a lot of people don't recognize that. They think they can do it all,
Exactly.
or you want to do it all. I have that problem. I want to do it all, or I think I can do it all, and it takes too much energy to try to
Yes,
do
yes,
everything. There's not enough hours in the day.
exactly, exactly. And I mean, effective partnership is really important because you have to know, even I think there's a science and an art to that. Not everybody is a good partner to partner with. And so even that is a process to find out the right to align yourself with the right different type of partnerships that are going to be beneficial for both people. And I think that's super important too.
I agree. So tell me, who are your clients? Who are your clients? What do they look like?
Okay, so basically, my clients are coaches and consultants, business owners who are looking to motivate and get their team to perform at a higher pace. Those are typically my great clients, because the coaches and consultants, they work with people. And so being able to teach them three other languages other than their own language that has helped them to be able to connect better with their clients and get better results. And so what I'm finding out is coaches, consultants, and business owners who have a team have been really my top three clients. And especially what I found out is 80% of my clients are women.
Oh, are they?
Yes, yes. We just did kind of an analysis, and 80% of the clients I work with are women, and the other 20 are men. And sometimes I wish us men would get more help and and more support.
Right.
But that'll come with time when we figure out we can't do it all. We're not Superman, even though we think we are. But even Superman had the Justice League that he worked with.
That's true.
And so fellas, we need to get us a Justice League going too. So
That's absolutely true.
yeah,
And like I said, it is the hardest part, and that's probably what a lot of men go through. You think you can do it on your own, or you just keep pushing through and pushing through. And unfortunately, we all know the statistics of how many small businesses fail. And I think a lot of them,
exactly.
because they don't, the things that I, Glenna, to talk about constantly with our group is treating your business like a business. Having a business plan, a marketing plan, a budget, having an A team. We talk about that a lot, having an A team, and knowing when to delegate so you can stay in your zone of genius and you have people who help you. So yes, knowing that you can't do it all is essential. So yeah, I think probably men have a harder time coming around to that than women do. I know that I have a hard time because, like I said, you just feel like, oh, I can do that. But should you do that? Should you be the one doing that? Probably not.
Yeah.
You should hire somebody to do that for you.
Exactly. And the one word I kind of want to respond to that you said was delegate. I figured out and learned that you don't delegate to get the task off your plate necessarily, but the whole reason why you delegate is to put someone else in their strength so that you can recognize their strength in the partnership. And that really is a whole different approach, and you get a whole different outcome when I'm giving this to you because this is your strength and you're good at it, versus delegating it because I don't want to do it.
Right.
And I have found, if I just had to throw a statistic out, I found 95% of the people delegate because they don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you don't get the desired results when you approach it that way. And so there's even a science and a reason behind that too. And so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, because you want to delegate to somebody who can do that, and it's their specialty, is what they do well. It's their strength, like you said. Because what's the point, right, of delegating it to somebody who's not going to be able to do it? And if it's something you don't want to do, it's going to come back to you, and now you have to do it again if somebody else didn't do it correctly. So no, that's
exactly.
So your business operates in different levels. You mentioned there's different levels that people can when they finish one, they can go to the next. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how that works and what you offer?
So generally, I always like to start out with any client that I work with. We're always going to start out with an assessment because it tells me what your order and how you are genetically wired. Then that way I am able to easily troubleshoot because I'm able to see what your strengths are, what you value. We agree on those, and we then begin to put a plan in place. So that's kind of like the first level of everything. So if a person just wanted to do an overall evaluation and get some coaching, that's level one. But then they can go to level 2, 3, or 4 with that initial evaluation. That's like the prerequisite into entrepreneurship or career development. And what you do is you roll that credit over from what you pay for your initial assessment. You move that over to the next level, and then that gets minus from the next level courses that you take. And then there's the leadership and executive training that you're able to move up to. Once you may feel like, okay, I love the assessment. I'm just going to do the personal assessment course. I'm going to do the personal success course. So then they do that and roll that over. And then they say, you know what? I love the personal success course. I want the leadership and entrepreneur career development. Then they can do that also. And so there's group coaching, and then there's one-to-one, because some people really prefer to have the one-to-one, and then they're able to order that too. I generally will only work with 10 clients a year for one-to-one, because I want to make sure that they get everything that they need and that special attention, so I don't overbook. I would rather have 10 and drop down to 7 versus having 13 and trying to manage that. Even if it drops down to 10, I'll never overbook, because I want people to get those personal services. And so that's how they're able to move through the different levels.
Okay, so that's good to know that you have individual and group options, because you're right. Some people do like the one-on-one option better. It works better for them. So how often do your groups meet? Does it depend on which level they're at, or?
Yes. So kind of the way I have the first lower levels is we'll meet 8 weeks in a row. So it's kind of, my courses are designed to have 8 week sessions. And then what I've learned is I don't like to just do 8 week sessions. So I have support Facebook groups so that they can ask questions, where it's ongoing and continuous for the remainder of that year.
Okay.
Then they have the option to get a membership if it's beneficial to them or not, because changing the mindset always takes maintenance, and you have questions. And so I have a support group, a Facebook group community, that we always foster and get information in and ask questions. And I do what is called a 10-minute in time, where we're giving you tips, tools, and techniques that you can apply both personally and professionally. And so we do monthly Q&As, and then there's always the weekly 10-minute in time updates, plus, your general post to address those different issues and things that you may that a person may come across.
Okay. Wow, that sounds great. That's a lot of resources.
Well, let me tell you, I've been training and development for over 30 years, right out of college. My second year in a job, I was blessed with the opportunity to just develop and be in a position as a program specialist to just develop programs to develop people. And I did that for 21 years. So I've collected what I consider the best of the best toolbox. And then I have my chest of tools that I can always go to and refer. And then plus, I have coaching. I have 4 different coaches. And so I need to constantly stay on the cutting edge and be able to make changes with the times, and pivot during the pandemic, just like everyone else does. And so I have coaches, and then I tend to share the information that I get from my coaches, with my clients as well.
That's great. So it's just this endless stream of knowledge. It sounds like that your clients can get. So you have your own coaches, because you practice what you preach. You've got to develop, and you have.
Hey, I'm not only a client, but I'm the president. I have I have a business coach that helps continuously develop, and they drive so hard, but they're at the next level where they're making millions of dollars a year. And what you do to make 5 figures is different than what you do when you make 6 figures, which is totally different than when you make 7 figures. And so you always need to stay informed, stay read up. And I tend to take that information and sometimes give people the crib notes. If they like it, then they're able to get the additional training from that. But at least they'll have some crib notes and some tips and tools to be able to use and make those adjustments themselves.
Right, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I
Yeah.
like that you have so much available in your Facebook group so that you have, just continuous knowledge out there that you're passing on to others. That's wonderful.
Yes, and just recently, I had one of my coaches ask me, why haven't I moved my website to phase two of its development? And I began to work with my website person. And what I learned when I began to move it to phase two was that my website person is excellent in knowing the features,
Mhm.
but is not excellent in understanding the speed of the website and the SEOs. So I actually had to change a long-term relationship I've had with my web developer and move it to a new web developer who understands the SEOs and the features
Right.
and design. And so that actually are those little things that we need to do to pivot so that we're not stuck with a website that isn't as productive or doesn't reach the public or serve the public like it's supposed to. So
Right,
it's
because
just it's
in
those little
order
tips that they give us.
right, in
Yes,
order to grow, you need to continuously change and adapt. And the bigger your
exactly,
business gets or the more traffic your website gets, now you have different needs than you did before. So it is an important thing to remember to always have to have
exactly.
be open to change. And we tell people that all the time. Um, for example, we talk about having a good business plan, and we always say, it's good. You've got to know that you've got to stick with it, but you also have to know that it's fluid. You're probably going to have to change it
Exactly.
as your business is changing, or you make some revelation, like you said. You just made a revelation that you had this need that you didn't know before, and now you have to find someone else to fill it so that you can continue to grow.
Exactly. And it's funny you mentioned about a business plan and developing. I want to be candidly honest. I was never a fan of a business plan. So my initial business plan was just to get it done. That was kind of my first thought until I was asked to teach and be an instructor in the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. And as we begin to go through that course curriculum for about 8 months, I began to understand the purpose of a business plan. For me, my biggest takeaway was it shows you what other people in your industry are doing,
Mm-hmm.
where you actually fit in, how much to charge based on how many hours you do and I actually learned how to do my numbers. And you hear them talk about on Shark Tank all the time, you have to know your numbers. Your numbers have to line up so that you're not spending more hours than what you're actually making. That's why a lot of those businesses do fail in the first 3 years, 5 years, 6 years now. And
Right.
so a business plan is very important.
Right. Glenetta phrased it, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it stuck in my head. She said, if you don't know, you won't grow. And she was talking about your numbers. So that has
Exactly.
stuck in my head. And I told her, okay, so it's made me look at my numbers more often and review things, because if you don't know, you won't grow. So you do have to know your numbers. Business plan is helpful beyond words, very helpful. But
Yeah.
so, how can people reach you if they're interested in knowing more about your services?
Okay, so people can reach me simply by going to my website, which will be changing, is changing now as we speak. They're working on it and changing. But there's always a box. They can just go to my website, relationshipavenues.com, and just simply go and put a message in the box. Hey, Kevin, I saw you on the interview. Can we connect? They can schedule an appointment. And generally, I don't like to call them consultations. I like to call them chemistry calls because um, if the chemistry isn't right, it's not going to work. And there's no need to try to work with people who aren't necessarily ready to do the work because a lot of times I find I want it more than my clients want it. And it's one thing to talk, and it's another thing to practice hard and prepare. Making mistakes is perfectly fine, but so they can schedule a chemistry call there, consultation, and we can see if it fits. And if it works, we can move further. And if not, I may be able to recommend some things for them or some other people or some other coaches.
Okay, that sounds good. So they should go to your website
Yes,
and
relationshipavenues.com.
and that's the best way for them to reach you.
Yes, for right now. And we're trying to simplify that because that's another thing my coach says. She says, that's the only way people can reach you. You need to have a couple of points of entries, different ways that they can reach you. And you need to have, like what you said, do your numbers analytics every Monday. And I don't care if you call it More Money Mondays, but every Monday you should be reviewing and looking at your numbers, your analytics, your marketing plan, and start on Monday so that people have the opportunity to make decisions by Wednesday or Thursday.
I love that. I love that you have an action plan that is so timely.
Yes.
Because like we were talking about the numbers, people hate looking at them or you put it off. And we always say at least once a quarter, but shoot for at least once a month. Don't do the quarter thing, but once a week is even better.
She's a and she like and my coach says every Monday you need to take a look so that way you can make those small adjustments every week versus trying to make a lot of adjustments at the end of the month.
Right. And I think I've not heard anybody say that. Analyze on Monday and make changes by Wednesday. I like that because that keeps you moving to a goal. Because one thing that I complain about, and I hate to use the word complain, but I hear myself saying it all the time, like that the days fly by. The hours fly by, the days fly by. I think it's 11, it's 3 o'clock, and yeah, it'll fly by unless you make the time to actually schedule it and do it.
Yeah, it'll get away from you real quick.
Oh, absolutely. It does for me constantly. I like that. I'm gonna implement looking at things on Mondays and making changes by Wednesday, or even if it's a small change. So I think that
even if it's a small change, and being and coming from a sports background, they always call it inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard.
Oh, I like that. That's another good reminder.
Yeah. So do things in small increments, because again, some people aren't wired to sit down all day at a particular task. Mm-hmm. You may be able to complete some of that task in 20 minutes, and if you just stay consistent with it, 20 minutes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you've actually put that time in to complete that task.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, Kevin, thank you for being here and being featured on our Saturday Spotlight.
Thank you, Liza, for having me.
Yeah, you gave a lot of great information, and you have great services that you provide. You really do. I mean, I've seen you in action firsthand. I think you're amazing. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
With us, and we will be posting how the best way to reach you, your website, so that people can reach out to you if they have any questions.
Great. Thank you, Liza. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.